Are you ready to face life's most uncomfortable truths, fellow Stoics? These harsh realities can set you free, but only if you're brave enough to embrace them. Happiness isn't about avoiding life's challenges. It's about accepting its truths. Let's explore 5 harsh but liberating realities that, when accepted, pave the way to a fulfilling life. With the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, you'll discover how Stoicism can transform these truths into your greatest strengths. If you're ready to reclaim your peace and clarity, subscribe now for more Stoic insights to guide your journey. The first truth is that you are not that important. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? But this realization is one of the most liberating lessons life can teach you. Most of us spend far too much time obsessing over how others perceive us. We replay conversations in our heads, analyze our every move, and wonder if we've said or done the wrong thing. But the truth is, most people aren't paying as much attention to you as you think. They're too busy being consumed by their own struggles, ambitions, and insecurities. Marcus Aurelius offers us a profound reminder. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you cling to the belief that others are constantly scrutinizing you, you give away your power. You allow the imagined opinions of others to dictate your actions and steal your peace of mind. But the moment you realize that you are not the center of anyone else's world, you free yourself to live authentically. You begin to focus on what truly matters, your values, your growth, and your inner peace. Think about the last time you walked into a room and felt self-conscious, worried about what others might think. Maybe you overanalyzed your outfit, your words, or even your posture. Now, consider this. How many of those people do you think went home that night and thought about you? The answer is likely none. While you were caught up in your own overthinking, they were likely caught up in theirs. This doesn't make you insignificant. It makes you human. And realizing this truth allows you to stop wasting energy on imaginary judgments and redirect it towards something meaningful. The Stoics understood the danger of placing too much importance on how others perceive us. Seneca observed, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you believe you're constantly being judged or watched, you create a narrative in your mind that has little to do with reality. This narrative keeps you trapped, making you hesitant to take risks, try new things, or express your true self. But when you accept that people are far more focused on their own lives than on yours, you gain the freedom to step out of this self-imposed cage. This truth doesn't mean that you are unimportant or that your existence lacks value. Instead, it shifts your perspective. It reminds you that life is not a performance for others. It's your own journey to navigate. By letting go of the need to impress or please everyone, you can redirect your energy toward living in alignment with your principles. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you stop reacting to the imagined opinions of others, you reclaim your focus and your strength. Imagine how much time and energy you could save by no longer worrying about what others think of you. You could pursue your passions without hesitation, speak your truth without fear, and make decisions based on your values rather than external expectations. This is what it means to live authentically, to let your actions be guided by your own wisdom and not by the fleeting opinions of others. This truth also brings clarity to your relationships. When you stop worrying about how you're perceived, you become more present in your interactions. You listen more deeply, speak more honestly, and connect more authentically. Marcus Aurelius advises, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Instead of seeking validation from others, focus on being the kind of person you admire. This shift not only strengthens your sense of self, but also attracts genuine connections with those who value you for who you truly are. It's important to recognize that the fear of being judged often stems from our own insecurities. When we feel uncertain about our worth, we look to others for validation. But the Stoics remind us that true confidence comes from within. Seneca writes, "A person who seeks peace outside will never find it, for it lies within." By turning inward and cultivating self-acceptance, you free yourself from the need for external approval. One of the most profound benefits of accepting this truth is the lightness it brings to your life. When you stop carrying the weight of others' opinions, you find yourself more open to joy, curiosity, and creativity. You become less afraid of failure because you're no longer trying to live up to impossible standards. Instead, you see setbacks as opportunities for growth and experiences as opportunities to learn. If you've ever caught yourself overthinking how others see you, consider this: how much of your life has been shaped by fears that exist only in your mind? By accepting that you are not the center of everyone's thoughts, you can begin to rewrite your story. You can step into the role of the creator of your own life, unburdened by the need to perform or please. This truth isn't about diminishing your worth. It's about liberating you from unnecessary burdens. It's about shifting your focus from external validation to internal growth. As Stoics, we know that peace comes not from the opinions of others, but from living in harmony with our principles. If this resonates with you, comment freedom below. Let's remind ourselves that true freedom begins when we stop giving others the power to define us. Next, we'll explore another harsh truth, one that challenges our expectations of fairness and forces us to confront life's unpredictability. Stay with me, Stoics, as we uncover how to navigate life's injustices with strength and resilience. The second truth is that life isn't always fair. It's an uncomfortable reality, one that challenges our deepest hopes for order and justice in the world. From a young age, we're taught that effort leads to reward, that good deeds are repaid in kind, and that life operates on a balance of fairness. But as we grow, we discover the opposite can often be true. Hardworking people sometimes face crushing setbacks. Those who lie, cheat, and manipulate often seem to get ahead. Life doesn't distribute its outcomes based on merit, and clinging to the illusion that it should only leads to frustration and bitterness. Epictetus offers us a powerful reminder. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. While we cannot control life's injustices, we can control our response to them. This is where true resilience lies, in letting go of the expectation that life should be fair and instead focusing on how we navigate its inevitable inequities. Accepting this truth isn't about surrendering to defeat. It's about reclaiming your power and energy from the false hope that life will conform to your desires. Imagine a scenario where you pour your heart and soul into a project only to watch someone else, someone who cut corners or bent the rules, reap the rewards that should have been yours. The sting of that injustice feels unbearable. You question the purpose of trying at all, wondering why effort and morality seem to count for so little. But what does this reaction accomplish? Does it change the outcome? Does it bring justice into being? The truth is, railing against the unfairness only deepens your suffering, adding frustration to an already painful situation. The Stoics teach us to focus not on external events, but on our internal state. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Injustice, though painful, can become a source of strength if we allow it to teach us adaptability, patience, and fortitude. Instead of asking, "Why me?" the Stoic asks, "What can I do with this?" This shift in perspective transforms unfairness from a roadblock into an opportunity for growth. Life's unfairness also offers a harsh but necessary reminder. The world is not obligated to reward goodness. Too often, we attach our sense of worth or happiness to external outcomes, believing that if we just do everything right, the universe will repay us in kind. But when the reward doesn't come, this mindset leaves us disillusioned and bitter. The Stoic path teaches us to decouple our actions from the expectation of reward. Seneca writes, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason." You do what is right not because it guarantees success or recognition, but because it aligns with your principles. This is where true freedom lies, not in controlling the outcomes, but in knowing you've acted with integrity regardless of them. Consider those moments when life's unfairness feels personal, when it seems as though the universe has singled you out for hardship. Perhaps you've faced an illness, a loss, or an injustice that seems utterly undeserved. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-pity, comparing your struggles to the apparent ease of others' lives. But this comparison only deepens your pain. Epictetus advises, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Instead of dwelling on what others have or what you lack, focus on what lies within your control. Your ability to persevere, to find meaning in your suffering, and to rise above the circumstances. Injustice also forces us to confront the unpredictability of life. No matter how carefully we plan, how diligently we work, or how deeply we care, outcomes are never guaranteed. This truth can feel destabilizing, but it also offers a profound freedom. When you accept that life isn't fair, you release yourself from the futile pursuit of guarantees. You begin to embrace life as it is, messy, unpredictable, and full of both pain and beauty. Marcus Aurelius advises, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This realization allows you to meet life's challenges with grace, knowing that fairness isn't a prerequisite for peace. Life's unfairness also reveals the power of resilience. Those who can accept this truth and adapt to it emerge stronger and more grounded. They learn to find joy and purpose even in the face of setbacks. They understand that their worth isn't defined by external circumstances, but by how they choose to respond to them. The unfairness of life, paradoxically, becomes a teacher, a force that strips away illusions and reveals the core of what truly matters. This truth also fosters empathy. When you accept that life isn't fair, you become more compassionate toward the struggles of others. You recognize that everyone carries unseen burdens, that success doesn't always reflect effort, and that failure doesn't always reflect incompetence. This understanding deepens your connections, allowing you to support others without judgment or resentment. If you've ever struggled with the unfairness of life, you're not alone. We've all faced moments where the scales felt tilted against us, where hard work seemed fruitless, and where the good went unrewarded. But the Stoics remind us that these moments, while painful, are opportunities to practice resilience and clarity. They are a chance to let go of what we cannot control and to focus instead on what we can: our actions, our attitudes, and our commitment to living with integrity. If this truth resonates with you, comment resilience below. Stoics thrive not by demanding fairness from life, but by rising above its injustices. By accepting this truth, you free yourself from the frustration of unmet expectations and open the door to a deeper, more lasting peace. We've uncovered two liberating truths. You're not the center of the universe, and life isn't always fair. But the next three truths dive even deeper, challenging how you think about relationships, change, and happiness itself. If you're finding value in this video, support the channel by hitting the thanks button below. Let's keep spreading Stoic wisdom to help others navigate life's challenges with clarity and courage. The third truth is that not everyone will like you. It's one of life's harshest lessons, yet also one of its most freeing. No matter how kind, generous, or thoughtful you try to be, there will always be people who don't resonate with you. It might be due to misunderstandings, differing values, or even their own insecurities. And while this can feel personal, the truth is, it's rarely about you at all. Yet, many of us waste years of our lives trying to be universally liked, bending over backward to win approval from people who, in the end, may never care to give it. Marcus Aurelius cuts through this illusion with clarity. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject. His words remind us that the opinions of those who don't truly know us or don't value us are meaningless. Seeking validation from them is like chasing shadows, exhausting, futile, and ultimately unfulfilling. True peace comes from shifting your focus inward, aligning your actions with your own values, and building authentic connections with those who appreciate you for who you are, not for who you try to be. Think about the lengths people go to in their quest for approval. They say yes when they want to say no. They suppress their true opinions, afraid of ruffling feathers. They wear masks to fit in, hoping to avoid rejection. And yet, even with all this effort, rejection still happens. Someone still finds a reason to dislike them. The hard truth is that approval, when it comes from trying to please everyone, is hollow. It's conditional, fleeting, and doesn't reflect your true worth. Stoicism teaches us to embrace this reality, not fight it. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This isn't an invitation to be reckless or inconsiderate. It's a call to let go of the need for external validation. If someone misunderstands you or disapproves of you, that's their judgment to hold, not yours. Your job is not to please everyone. It's to live in alignment with your principles and values, knowing that some will appreciate you for it and others won't. Imagine a scenario where you share an honest opinion or make a decision that reflects your values. To some, your words or actions might resonate deeply. They'll respect your courage and authenticity. But others might criticize you, label you, or even distance themselves from you. This is where the discomfort sets in. Our instinct is to question ourselves. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I make a mistake? But the Stoics remind us that the only question worth asking is, did I act according to my principles? If the answer is yes, then the opinions of others, whether positive or negative, lose their power over you. The need to be liked is often rooted in fear, the fear of rejection, isolation, or conflict. But this fear is misplaced. Rejection doesn't diminish your worth, and conflict doesn't make you unlovable. Seneca advises, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Instead of chasing approval from everyone, focus on surrounding yourself with people who challenge, inspire, and uplift you. These are the relationships that matter, the ones built on mutual respect, not superficial approval. It's also important to recognize that not being liked isn't inherently bad. When someone dislikes you, it often has more to do with their own biases, struggles, or preferences than with anything you've done. Marcus Aurelius encourages us to approach such situations with understanding. Whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. When you see that, you'll feel compassion instead of astonishment or anger. When someone's disapproval feels harsh or unfair, remind yourself that their judgment reflects their worldview, not your value. There's tremendous freedom in accepting that not everyone will like you. It allows you to let go of the need to please and instead focus on being your authentic self. You begin to live for your own approval, rather than constantly chasing the fleeting approval of others. This shift not only strengthens your sense of self, but also attracts genuine connections. People are drawn to authenticity, even if they don't always agree with you. By showing up as your true self, you give others permission to do the same, creating relationships rooted in honesty and mutual respect. If you've ever felt trapped by the need to be liked, ask yourself this: how much of your life has been shaped by fear of disapproval? How many decisions have you made to avoid conflict, rather than to pursue your values? These questions may feel uncomfortable, but they hold the key to breaking free. The moment you realize that you cannot and should not be everything to everyone, you reclaim your power. You begin to live not for the applause of the crowd, but for the quiet satisfaction of knowing you stayed true to yourself. If this resonates with you, comment authenticity below. Stoics know that true happiness comes from within, not from external validation. Letting go of the need to be liked doesn't make you cold or indifferent. It makes you free. Free to express yourself without fear, to connect with others without pretense, and to live a life guided by your own principles, not by the shifting opinions of others. As we move forward, we'll explore another profound truth, one that confronts our resistance to change and shows us how to embrace the inevitable. The fourth truth is that change is inevitable. Resisting it is like standing in the ocean, trying to hold back the tide with your hands. No matter how hard you try, the waves will keep coming. Life is in constant motion, shifting and evolving in ways that are often beyond your control. And while it's tempting to cling to the familiar, to grasp onto what's comfortable and predictable, this resistance only deepens your suffering. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca reminds us, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. These words hold a powerful truth. Change is not the enemy. It's the natural flow of life, and when embraced, it becomes a force for growth and transformation. Consider how much of our pain comes not from change itself, but from our refusal to accept it. We hold on to relationships that have run their course, jobs that no longer fulfill us, or routines that no longer serve us, all because we fear the uncertainty of what lies ahead. But this clinging doesn't protect us. It traps us. It creates a false sense of control that inevitably crumbles when the tide of life moves forward, leaving us feeling lost and unprepared. Marcus Aurelius offers us a liberating perspective. Observe how all things change, and how you are part of this change, His words remind us that change is not something that happens to us. It is something we are a part of. To resist it is to resist our very nature. Imagine a tree in the midst of a storm. If it rigidly resists the wind, its branches may snap, and its roots may be torn from the ground. But if it bends and sways with the wind, it weathers the storm, emerging stronger and more grounded. This is the wisdom of embracing change. When you allow yourself to adapt, to flow with life's inevitable shifts, you build resilience. You discover strengths you didn't know you had, and you open yourself to opportunities you might never have imagined. Think about the moments of change in your own life. Moving to a new city, starting a new job, ending a relationship, or navigating an unexpected challenge. At first, these changes might have felt overwhelming or even devastating. But over time, you likely discovered something valuable within them. Perhaps you developed new skills, formed new connections, or gained a deeper understanding of yourself. This is the gift of change. It forces us out of our comfort zones and into the realm of growth. Yet, despite this, we often fear change. We fear the loss of what we know and the uncertainty of what comes next. This fear is natural, but it's also misplaced. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Do not be disturbed by the past, for it no longer exists. Do not be troubled by the future, for it is not yet here." When you fixate on what you're losing or what might go wrong, you miss the present moment, the place where change unfolds and where your power lies. Instead of fearing change, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Stoicism teaches us that the key to embracing change is to focus on what is within our control. You cannot control the waves, but you can control how you navigate them. You can choose to approach change with curiosity instead of resistance, with gratitude instead of fear. Seneca advises, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This wisdom applies not only to material things but also to our attachment to stability. When you let go of the craving for things to stay the same, you free yourself to appreciate the richness of life's impermanence. Change also teaches us humility. It reminds us that we are not the masters of the universe, that life moves according to forces far greater than our will. This can feel unsettling, but it can also be a source of peace. When you accept that change is inevitable, you stop fighting battles you cannot win. You stop exhausting yourself trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, you find strength in surrender, not the kind of surrender that means giving up, but the kind that means trusting the process of life. One of the most powerful aspects of embracing change is the way it transforms your perspective. When you stop fearing change, you begin to see it not as an ending but as a beginning. You realize that every door that closes makes way for another to open. You begin to trust that life's transitions, while difficult, are necessary for your growth. This shift in perspective allows you to face change with a sense of curiosity and possibility, rather than dread. If you've ever struggled with change, you're not alone. We've all faced moments where the ground beneath us felt shaky, where the future felt uncertain, and where the loss of the familiar left us reeling. But these moments, as painful as they are, hold the potential for profound transformation. If this resonates with you, comment growth below. As we embrace this truth, let us remember the words of Epictetus. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Life will continue to change, regardless of whether we resist or embrace it. The question is not whether change will come, but how we will respond when it does. Will we cling to the past, or will we step into the unknown with courage and grace? These four truths already challenge us to rethink life's illusions, but the final truth is the hardest and most transformative. It's the one that puts happiness fully in your hands. Let's uncover it next. The final truth is that happiness is a choice. This may seem difficult to accept, especially in a world that constantly tells us that happiness lies somewhere outside of us. In a better job, a bigger house, a perfect relationship, or the approval of others. But this belief is an illusion, a trap that keeps us chasing endlessly after things that will never truly satisfy us. Stoicism teaches us that happiness doesn't depend on what happens to you, but on how you choose to see it. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking, These words hold the key to understanding that happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create. We've all been there, haven't we? Telling ourselves that we'll be happy once we reach a certain milestone or achieve a specific goal. If I could just get that promotion, I'd feel fulfilled. If I could just fix this relationship, I'd be at peace. But what happens when you get there? The satisfaction is fleeting, and soon enough, you're chasing the next thing, convinced that happiness is always just one step ahead. This cycle is exhausting, and it leaves you feeling empty, as though true happiness is always just out of reach. The Stoics offer a radically different perspective. Happiness isn't something you need to pursue because it's already within you. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you choose to respond. Choosing happiness doesn't mean ignoring life's hardships or pretending everything is perfect. It means learning to find joy and gratitude even in life's imperfections. Life will always have challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. But happiness isn't about the absence of these struggles. It's about your ability to navigate them with grace. Epictetus teaches us, we are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. This wisdom reminds us that our emotions don't come from external events, but from the way we interpret those events. By changing your perspective, you can transform even the most difficult circumstances into opportunities for growth and peace. Consider the story of someone who loses a job. On the surface, it's a devastating event. It's easy to feel angry, hopeless, or even humiliated. But what if this loss is reframed as an opportunity? What if it's a chance to explore a new path, develop new skills, or pursue a long-forgotten dream? This shift in perspective doesn't erase the hardship, but it changes how you experience it. Instead of being a victim of circumstance, you become an active participant in shaping your own life. Happiness, in this context, is not about avoiding difficulty. It's about finding meaning within it. The Stoics understood that the mind is both our greatest ally and our greatest obstacle. If you believe happiness lies in external things, you give those things power over you. You become a prisoner of your circumstances, constantly waiting for something outside of yourself to make you feel whole. But when you take ownership of your happiness, you reclaim that power. Marcus Aurelius advises, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This is the essence of choosing happiness. Realizing that your thoughts, not your surroundings, determine your peace of mind. Happiness as a choice also means cultivating gratitude. Even in the midst of hardship, there is always something to be thankful for. A warm cup of tea on a cold morning, the laughter of a friend, the quiet beauty of a sunset. These moments, though small, are reminders that joy exists even in life's chaos. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." Gratitude roots you in the present moment, allowing you to appreciate what you have rather than fixating on what you lack. Of course, choosing happiness is not easy. It takes practice, discipline, and self-awareness. Your mind will resist, clinging to old patterns of negativity or self-pity. You might catch yourself thinking, but how can I be happy when everything feels so uncertain? Or, how can I find joy when so much is going wrong? These thoughts are natural, but they're also opportunities to practice the Stoic mindset. Instead of letting these doubts control you, challenge them. Ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? What small action can I take to create a moment of peace or joy? This shift in focus is where happiness begins. One of the most profound lessons of Stoicism is that happiness is not about circumstances. It's about values. When you live in alignment with your principles, you create a sense of fulfillment that external events cannot take away. Whether you're facing success or failure, abundance or loss, your happiness remains steady because it is rooted in who you are, not in what you have. Epictetus reminds us, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, you free yourself from the tyranny of external events. If you've ever struggled to feel happy in the midst of life's chaos, know that you're not alone. Happiness isn't something that comes naturally to most of us. It's a skill that requires intention and effort. It's about rewiring your mind to focus on what matters, letting go of what you cannot control, and finding beauty in the everyday. Comment gratitude below if you're ready to take ownership of your happiness. Stoics know that happiness is not a destination but a way of being, one that begins with the choice to see life through a lens of gratitude and resilience. As we close this reflection, remember that happiness is not something you find, it's something you build. It's the result of small, intentional choices made every day. It's the decision to look for the good, even when life feels overwhelming. It's the courage to let go of what you can't control and to focus on the beauty of what's within your power. You have the ability to choose happiness, even in the face of life's challenges. The question is, will you make that choice? Let this truth guide you forward, Stoics, as we continue to embrace life's imperfections with wisdom, strength, and gratitude. Stoics, life's harsh truths are not obstacles, they're opportunities. Accepting them frees you to live authentically, adapt to challenges, and find joy in the journey. If this video resonated with you, comment wisdom below and subscribe for more Stoic philosophy, practical insights, and ancient wisdom. Together, let's walk the path of clarity and purpose. See you next time